classification of employees at the Department of Children and Family Services in Illinois coming into more focus with a state legislature working to get to the answers of what exactly constitutes an intern and what exactly are interns allowed to do in the state when it comes to investigating child welfare. I'm Greg Bishop. This is Illinois in Focus Daily. Let's talk about that now with State Representative Jed Davis. He joins us here with Illinois in Focus. Representative, we've talked about this in the past here with the Center Square, and you brought to light an incident that happened with a family you're familiar with, and their family rocked by child welfare agents coming in and impacting their family. So let's kind of start there before we get to you uncovering what appears to be DCFS admitting that they were improperly classifying people against a dissent decree, a court challenge of the department's ability to manage child welfare in the state of Illinois. Good morning. Let's start off with the how you got into this issue.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for the opportunity, Greg. A local family crossed my desk, and this will be the second Christmas that they have been separated from their child. And when we kind of dug into the investigation, it turns out that it was led by an intern, which, by everything you just said and kind of what we'll review here in a moment, don't have the qualifications, don't have the experience to actually conduct an investigation with the authority to remove a child from a home. I mean, that's a very sacred authority that we want to make sure those individuals know what they're doing and they're not an intern at people's doors, because then the issue becomes the court relies heavily on the documents produced, really without question. So if those documents are produced without the proper experience and things get missed, the court is then making decisions based on essentially falsehoods.
Representative, clearly the issue of interns was brought up when we discussed this, months ago, right? And DCFS pushed back and said that Representative Davis doesn't have all the facts correct, and they seem to have just kind of distanced themselves from this, despite putting out certain messages. But you just released a pretty detailed news release this week, yesterday, that goes through public records that are available that you guys have been able to access as well. Affidavits and such. What's the top line here? What did you find out that you announced yesterday?
Yeah, this is, in my opinion, a done deal. Like, I'm not sure. I've been going back and forth with the department for literally more than half a year on just trying to get them to admit what we have known to be true all along. And now we've uncovered sworn statements, declarations that are part of a federal court case. So under the penalty of perjury, you have the top official in DCFS, Kimberly Bates, who's in charge of all the classifications, personnel policy, qualification standards. And she admits in this, again, sworn declaration that interns are individuals who meet the educational requirements for investigator. But here's the important thing: do not meet the experience requirements, which is what we've been saying from day one. And now we got it straight from the mouth of DCFS's top individual in this area.
And I've got the documents that you have in your news release pulled up here. And, talking about Bates in the comments, there are currently over 120 interns waiting to be promoted to investigator positions. I mean, so it's clear they have interns. I mean, that's not what's being debated here, right? I mean, they have interns. It's just the matter of, are the interns the ones leading investigations into people's homes? And you say you have evidence that that is the case.
No, absolutely. They admit that it is. And they say that they can legally do it, that this is okay. And they may be relying, if you go down to number 3 in that press release, they may be relying on Mr. Kleins, who's the executive director of the Illinois Civil Service. He actually stated to the attorneys at DCFS and the governor's office, he's the individual in charge of really interpreting and approving state job classifications. And he said, hey, this child protection specialist intern classification exists. And then come to find out, through some pressure here earlier this month, he admits in a FOIA request, I made a mistake. No such classification exists. So I would want to provide an olive branch, I guess, to the department and say maybe they were relying on an expert's statements that turns out were incorrect. And I wish they will acknowledge that now and do the right thing by the people of Illinois and start setting the course for the proper right of these families who have really been caught up in an injustice.
State Representative Jed Davis joins us talking about classifications of interns at the Department of Children and Family Services. When I reached out to the ACLU on this, because they were part of the consent decree, they said, "Oh, these are things that were happening back in 2017." But is there indication to you now that most recently this is still a persistent problem that needs to be addressed through that consent decree that the ACLU helped to get, back in the late 80s, early 90s or something?
Yeah, their declaration that I noted is from 2017, and it also admits, again, sworn declaration in a federal court under the penalty of perjury, admits that, hey, these interns don't meet all the job qualifications. So that's great, and I think that is an arrow kind of to the heart of DCFS's defense. But you go up to the first one we talked about, that's from 2024. And now you've got Mr. Klein saying no such classification exists. Well, that's from December 8th. This is less than 10 days ago. So yeah, they can point to that was long in the past, but we've got really relevant documents in the not too distant past here that really speak into the truth of this issue. And in my opinion, I don't see how the department can deny this. I really hope they, again, do the right thing and set the record straight for the people of Illinois.
Representative, I want to pull up again here as watchers are seeing this, but your news release, why the distinction matters. DCFS knew interns lack the required experience. DCFS nonetheless used interns in investigative roles. DCFS defended this practice using incorrect classification claims. This outcome is a total failure of leadership, accuracy, and accountability. You write. What are you looking for? What's next? What are you demanding here from the agency?
Yeah, I would call on them to, publicly correct the false statements. I've got 10 of them, and there's more, but I kind of pulled out the top 10 at the tail end. They've been all over the media. They've been all over the adoption committee. They've been all over internal calls with representatives, just really making false statements. And again, it may be based on Mr. Klein's statement that he made in July, which now turns out to be incorrect. So again, I would love to send that olive branch to them and formally acknowledge, hey, interns are not investigators. I'm not sure how much more clear we can get when we even have something just from a year ago saying they don't meet the experience requirements, which is what we've been saying from day one. Do you as a family, I'm a foster parent. I've had investigators in my house, not for my family, but following up on cases of placements that have been placed with my wife and I. If you're the biological family or whatever that has these kids, do you want an intern making those determinations? I think that even without all of this legalese and declarations we found, that should be an easy no. So I can't believe we're even having this discussion, but now we've got the legal evidence that we're right. Interns don't meet the experience requirements. They should not be doing it. So apologize to families, and it would be great. This gets muddy, but man, we need to do what's right to the people. Go back to the families that have been ones that were interns were the lead and reinvestigate them and just either substantiate it, or maybe you'll find out that there were some things missed. We owe that. We're not talking about groceries. We're talking about human lives. We owe that to the families of Illinois.
Representative, I've done several stories now in recent months about the Department of Children and Family Services, from things like the number of missing kids, right, and how they didn't necessarily get that information out when it was requested immediately, and the numbers changed a bit after they refined it. But you have that issue. I've also had people reach out and talk about the amount of money that some of these DCFS employees are making. If you look at the comptroller's salary website, you'll find a couple of dozen that are making more than $200,000 a year, not the director of the agency. We're talking about, the specialists within the agency here. Several were making $300,000 a year. If there's all these interns out there, what explains this kind of large amount of salary going out to dozens of state employees within DCFS and having poor outcomes that you and others highlight?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you're investing a lot, I'm not saying we shouldn't invest money into this department because they play a critical role. but you need a return for that investment. And right now, man, I don't think we're getting it. The intern numbers have shrunk a little. This has been a pipeline that they've kind of put in place to get people because they've had a hard time hiring people. It's muddy. I mean, it's not glamorous work. It is very emotionally gut-wrenching. I know that as a foster parent, and I commend, there are some incredible employees out there that I've interacted with through the years, and they are my lifeline in the foster world. So I commend them, but man, we're investing all of this cash into this department, and yet we're not seeing the results that I think we would like, and we're having, in my opinion, ridiculous back and forth conversations on basic issues such as this. And if we can't agree that we don't want interns at doors, I just kind of scratch my head and say, where can we begin the conversation? Because there is a lot of work to get the department back into the proper direction here.
Representative, I have put out a request for the department to respond to your demands and the information you provided yesterday. I haven't heard back yet. Now, granted, hasn't been a full 24 hours or so, but have you heard back from them since you've put this out?
I haven't. I'm sure they're not happy. We I don't even like this phrase, but agreed to disagree a couple months ago. And I think they were hoping that we would just kind of sail into the sunset, but we have not stopped working because, again, families are being impacted, and I can't sit idle when I see the trauma that's being caused in these homes. So I am diligent. I am not letting this issue just kind of vanish. We are going to stay persistent and up front and center. And we're going to start working through. I'm going to share these findings here today with the adoption committee that I sit on, and hopefully we can get, we've been talking, and it sounds like there's some promise and headway with the committee chair there of having some committee hearings here in the spring on this very issue. So I think it would be good to start having the discussion. When we can have the discussion, instead of getting all defensive, people win. And we need to have the discussion, and we need to get back to what was intended and have investigators do investigators and interns right alongside and get the experience they need before that promotion.
Thank you so much for taking time with us, Representative. We'll definitely talk more about this in the near future, I imagine, as you continue to focus on it, and we'll take a look at it here with Illinois in Focus. Have a great day, all right?
Thank you.
It is Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop, editor of the Center Square at Illinois, so go check it out and stay up to date with headlines in your inbox and so much more. Again, Illinois in Focus Daily.